your name? Diksha. Okay, very nice. Huh? So let's welcome them from Charlotte. Rivo. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anyone else? So as I announced earlier, we'll move on. We'll have a talk by His Holiness Bhai Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And after the talk at 6 p.m., we'll have dinner, prasadam for everyone. And as I announced, we have exciting festivals coming up. This next Sunday, we'll have a wonderful, wonderful dance performance. And that's based on the Ramayana theme. And this is like preparing our mind for the upcoming big festival of Ram Navami, which is on March 30th. So after the class, I'll have details, but now we'll move on to the class. Okay. So we request everyone if you can kindly come forward for the class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you very much, Aditya Narayan Prabhu. It's good to see everybody. So you want to give me the microphone, little mic? Thank you. Good to see everybody. And like Aditya Narayan Prabhu mentioned, next week we have a special dance performance, which will be about 5 or 5:30 in the afternoon, same day, Sunday. And it'll be very exciting. And then Ram Navami is coming up during the week. I think it's on a Thursday after that, right? It's on the Thursday after that. So you're all invited to attend. So this evening we're going to be speaking a little bit about the 10 basic principles that underline Krishna consciousness, which are described by this great Acharya, whose name is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So these are the 10 basic principles, and if you learn these principles and practice them, you can become Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness is very easy. It's not very difficult. It's not that you have to learn thousands and thousands and thousands of rituals and rules and regulations like some ritualistic brahmana. You can actually become Krishna conscious just by understanding these 10 principles, which include chanting the holy name and worshiping the deities and stuff like that. So, without further ado, we are going to chant Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hare Gopi Jana Malava Girivadodhagute Gopi Jana Malava Girivadodhagute Yasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamuna Tera Banachare Yamuna Tera Banachare Jai Huradu Umadaba Kunyavihare Jayarad Madhava Kunyavihare Gopi jana manapa giri varuda gode. Gopi jana manapa giri varuda gode. Yasoda nana dana praja jana ranjana. Yasoda nana praja jana ranjana. Yamuna tera vanachare. Yamunatera manachare. Jai Urad Omadava Punyabiagure. Jai Urad Omadava Punyabiagure. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhikacharya. Also Tata Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Savaya. Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Ram Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shiveta Gadadhat Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamaya Ki Jai. Shrimati Lasta Devi Ki Jai. Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gold. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deja Tarni. So Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Miditam Yena Tasmai. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master's divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, this afternoon we're going to present something called the Dasa Mula. So, if those of you who don't understand Sanskrit or a little bit of Hindi, which is similar. So das, of course, in this particular case means 10. Mula means like a root. In this particular case, the foundational principles of Krishna consciousness, which underlie everything that we do. Oh, see. So it's very important to learn these because this is our foundation. And these 10 principles or points or foundational philosophical understandings and practices were given to us by this great devotee whose name is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I don't know if everyone can see that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the spiritual master of Srila Gaurkashodas Babaji Maharaj, who is the spiritual master of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Who is the spiritual master? My spiritual master is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, whose Murti you see sitting over there. That's Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a Nitya Siddha devotee. What does that mean? Eternally liberated. Most of us, sorry to say this, are Nichibadas. What does that mean? Anyone know? Means eternally bound. What are we bound by? The gunas. Nihikashit shanamapi jatatishtati. A karma krit karyate yavasa karma sarvaprakti jai gunar. We're forced to act helplessly by these impulses. They're coming from the mode of goodness. Sometimes we feel really good and peaceful. Weather's nice. We're friends with everybody. Oh, we love everybody. Peace and love, as they say. And then sometimes the mode of passion is prominent. We don't really hate people. We're just trying to make a profit from them. You understand? Oh, we got a deal for you. Just like if you go on the internet sometimes with YouTube, you see these things. We're running out of this product. And if you order now, but if you don't order now, guess what? It may take months because it comes in the boat, to get to you. Oh, my God. That's the mode of passion. And the mode of ignorance, well, you just need to go to a place like New Orleans or, any bar, your friendly neighborhood pub, because you don't have pubs here. And then you'll see what the mode of ignorance is. So there's a combination of these three modes control everybody, and that's the Nichibbada. So we're going to figure out how to become sadhan siddha by the process Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us. So sadhan siddha means you can become liberated by following a particular process called sadhana bhakti. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur never became liberated. He was always liberated. Therefore, you have the word Nitya Mukta. Got it? Nitya Siddha, which is the same thing. Eternally. And because he's eternal, you may ask, he's eternally liberated. Why did he come to this place? Well, maybe this place is nice, but anyway. Why the reason he came down is for our benefit. The reason Prabhupada came down is for our benefit. The reason Prabhupada's spiritual master came down and many of these acharyas came down is for our benefit. So, anyway, so he's teaching us something essential about the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The 10 principal teachings that are based upon Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Now, if this thing advances, it will be all right. So, there's a picture of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Hopefully you can see it because it's a little light. And these 10 principles are presented in one of the literatures he published called the Jaiva Dharma. You don't know what Jaiva Dharma means. It's the same thing as Jiva Dharma. Jiva means us. It's me. But all of you, we're in a particular category. We're eternal little souls that are part and parcel of Krishna, Mamivangsa Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. And we have a particular dharma, which we're going to find out about. Of course, I'll tell you right now what that dharma is. It's Jivara Swarupohoy Nitya Krishna Das. That's our Nitya Dharma. But right now we have some what's called, here's another fancy word for you, Naimitika Dharmas. Which means, temporary dharmas, which are not necessarily bad. You get up in the morning, brush your teeth. It's not bad dharma. It's, it's all right. But it's not niche. It's not that eternally. You can be brushing your teeth because in the spiritual world, you don't have to brush your teeth. They're always clean. And no dentures either. For you old people. So anyway, Nitya Dharma. So he's teaching us this Nitya eternal principles for the Jiva. Jiva's Nitya Dharma, which is Jivara Swarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. Eternally we're a servant of Krishna. But because we're in an unnatural situation, we have different dharmas. And the example given in the Jiva Dharma, which we've been studying each night online, for those who want to participate. The example given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and also by Srila Prabhupada, is that water has a particular dharma. And that dharma, what is the word of dharma? Liquidity. Under normal circumstances, of course, sometimes it gets real cold here, and therefore it becomes solid. But the normal, normally when you think of water, you say, let me go swimming. You don't think you go swimming in ice. Well, maybe you do. If you happen to be a member of the Polar Bear Club. There are people like that, right? In Russia, there's a Polar Bear Club. I did it. In Finland once, I did it, and then I had to jump into a sauna, and then went back in the water, jump into the sauna again, back and forth. That's called sukha dukkha in Sanskrit. Happiness and distress. So, but let's say, using a metaphor, just to help us understand, water is naturally liquid, but when it's put in a situation that's unnatural, in contact with cold, well, actually, cold, there's no such thing as cold. It's the absence of heat. Okay. When it's put in an unnatural situation where there's an absence of heat, it becomes solid. But water is real nature. Just using the metaphor, don't tear apart the metaphor, just to help us understand. Water's real nature is liquid. So our real nature is servant of Krishna. But when we're put into this cold, dark material world, and it's dark normally here. That's why we need what? The sun, the moon, electricity, fire, etc. Krishna says in the Gita, what does Krishna say? Anyone know that verse? I'll give you the beginning. Na, Suryo. What's the rest? Pavaka. What's the next? Vardante. Mama. He said, where my home, he says, abode, there's no need of sunlight, moonlight, or electricity. One who goes there doesn't come back here. So that's nice. So this is a naturally dark, cold place. If you take away the sun, then the temperature goes to almost absolute zero. You know what absolute zero is? How many degrees is absolute zero? Not Fahrenheit. Not minus 32. It's zero. Not 0 Celsius, not 0 Fahrenheit, but we're talking about the scientific degree measures. It's absolute zero. And everything, all molecular movement stops when you get to absolute zero, right? Is that true? Minus 200. Okay, I'll remember that. I'll check my thermometer if it gets that cold. So that's really cold. So we need the heat of the sun and the light just to survive. But the material world is naturally dark and cold. And you have a few little places like the Earth planet. Like if you go a little further out in the solar system from the Earth planet, it gets much colder, doesn't it? In to Venus, it gets a little hot. And Mercury, it's really hot. But naturally, if you look at space, it's a pretty cold place. So that's the material world. So therefore, we're in an unnatural situation, using the metaphor of heat and cold. And then also we're exposed to these modes of nature, and we're not able to perceive our real selves, and we're attached to all these false designations. Therefore, we don't understand who we are. So the process of Krishna consciousness is a process of remembering or waking up to who you are. Like in the morning, when the alarm clock goes off, hopefully you remember who you are. Or you have a little piece of paper next to your bed. I am Dear Krishna Goswami. I'm supposed to go to Mangal Arati this morning. That's a watch on your wrist. So, no, I do remember a few things. So, Krishna consciousness is something like that. You chant, Cheto Darbana Marshanam Bhava Mahabhakti Nivapanam. You clean your heart and you remember, hey, now I know I'm a servant of Krishna. I don't have to serve those three modes of nature anymore. I don't have to worry about getting old, birth, death, disease, and old age. Wow. I can be happy. And I've been trying to be happy through so many other means. So many other means. Nothing made me happy. nice car. Didn't make me happy. What else? Nice set of clothes, like ladies' shoes. There was one lady, famous lady, she used to have thousands of pairs of shoes. Imelda Marcos. She's dead, so I can speak about it. Not one of our devotees. So, so people think like the more shoes I have, the better cars. There's a famous person who used to be on TV in a talk show who has so many expensive cars, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of cars. And so, but now I can be happy without any of that stuff because the happiness is within. If you're happy within, that's why you have all these great sages and you see them living in such a fashion, not like this, of course, this is opulent, but living in such a fashion, practically sometimes dressed in rags. If you go to Kumbh Mela, anyone's heard of Kumbh Mela before? Kumbh Mela? That's the world's largest spiritual festival. The world's largest any festival. Did you know that? Kumbh Mela. And you see sometimes these great sages, they're dressed very, very simply, and they're happy. And it's cold out, too. And they're just blissful. So anyway, so that's the point. I don't want to spend all my time on this introduction. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is teaching us this. So we're going to talk about, this is just the Sanskrit. I'm not going to. So let's give a little summary to the 10 basic truths that he teaches. The first truth, just to summarize it, is called pramana, or what we call in English epistemology. How do you know what you know? I'll go over that in a second. The second to the 8th verse deals with what's called sambandha. Sambandha means basically understanding what the soul is, who God is, those things to be known, which in Sanskrit the word is prameya. You don't have to learn those words. So before you can know what's to be known, you have to go back to number 1. You have to know what source of knowledge to go to ascertain those things. And the 9th verse describes the process of getting to know or becoming Krishna conscious. That's called abhideya in Sanskrit. And the 10th is what we call prayojana, which is what happens when you know what you know and you practice what you know. Everybody follow that so far? Pretty simple. Okay. And so this is basically an elaboration, which you see up there, of the 10 principles, but I'm going to go over each one by one. So first of all, there's the introduction. I worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who teaches us the following 10 theistic principles. 1, the Vedic literature is the only source of knowledge about the absolute truth. 2, and as I said, I'll describe each one of those. Second, 2, Hare Krishna, the Almighty, is the Supreme Lord. 3, Krishna is always invested with infinite powers. 4, Krishna is the ocean of ras. That means taste, spiritual taste. He's not dry. He's not dry Maiva. The soul is Krishna's separated part, is 5. 6, the souls are engrossed in Krishna's illusory energy, which I talked about a second ago. 7, certain souls are released from Krishna's illusory energy. 8, all spiritual material phenomena are simultaneously one with and different from Krishna. That may sound like it should be, which we describe. And 9, pure devotional service is the only means for attaining the final objective of life. And 10, pure love of Godhead is the final objective. So the first one is very interesting. The Vedic literature is the only source of knowledge about the absolute truth. So Veda means knowledge. We're not saying literature from India is the only source of knowledge of the absolute truth. There are religious literatures that come from other cultures and other situations, and I'm not passing judgment on any of them right now or describing any of them right now. But the word Veda means knowledge. So any book that contains perfect knowledge is known as Veda. And Vedanta means the conclusion of that knowledge. So this particular statement is what we call our epistemology. How do we know what we know? Why do we talk about that? Because we have other ways of knowing things. Like, what is that? Pratyaksha is one of them. You see, but because we have imperfect senses, we can see things that aren't there, or we can hear things that aren't there. I mean, like this morning, I was sitting in class and I was thinking, someone is sleeping in class. Because I could hear. I said, class isn't that bad. But then I found out I made a mistake. The person was sick. So they're having trouble breathing. So we make mistakes using our senses, isn't it? I was getting upset. Why is someone sleeping? What's wrong? Let's make a mistake. Imperfect senses in one. And so we have a tendency to be illusioned, isn't it? And sometimes we may say things that aren't true. That's a cheating propensity. So therefore, we have to have some perfect source. And now the Vedic literatures, let's talk about the Vedas right now. When we're talking about the Vedas, we're talking about the Rig Veda, Tarva Veda, Samaveda, Yajur Veda, and the histories like the Itihasas, Puranas, like the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Ramayana, and of course the Mahabharata. So let's just talk about those specifically right now. Be a little unicultural. So those literatures that come down from Krishna, Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, they're actually to be considered perfect. So it's a perfect source of knowledge about the absolute truth. However, there's a problem. Even when you have a perfect source of knowledge about the absolute truth, you also have in that perfect source of knowledge different injunctions for different people in different circumstances. Or as Krishna says in the Gita, Trigunya Vishya Veda Nish Trigunya Bhavarjana. He says the Vedas deal with people in different modes of nature as well as transcendental people. So how do you distinguish which shloka is for you? Shloka means like a verse, is for you. I mean, for example, in the Vedas, there are injunctions for people who want to eat meat. Goats. Bakri. They're plenty there. So they want to eat goats. So what is the injunction? Once a month. Here's the injunction. Once a month, you take a goat on the full moon night, and you cut the goat's throat, and you say, Mamsa Katati, that in the next life you will get a chance to eat me, and I'll be a goat, and you'll be a human being. A little discouraging. It's a lot more difficult than going to Walmart, purchasing a goat. I don't know if they sell goats at Walmart, but I've been checked recently. So there's that. It's a Vedic injunction, right? That's called a Naimitika injunction, which means it's meant for certain people. Just like you have certain injunctions for people who are Brahmins. Not quite so bad as the ones killing the goat. You have the Brahma, what's called the Sanja Vandana, which is the Brahmanas do their Gayatris at a certain time of day. And sometimes people consider that to be Nitya karma. It's not really Nitya, it's temporary stuff called Naimitika, to be really precise. And so that injunction may not apply to you. And so how do you decide which verse, which injunctions apply? Therefore, in addition to the Vedic literatures, you need guru and sadhu. You need people who are, I won't say flesh, but people who are there can tell you which ones are applicable to you according to your particular situation. Because one who is actually completely pure, he doesn't have to worry about Vedic injunctions because he automatically is absorbed in the highest spiritual truth. So this is really important to understand that. You can't just like pick and choose. Like Prabhupada would sometimes call the Vedas or compare the Vedas to what's called a pharmacopoeia. Pharmacopoeia means like a drugstore, for those who don't know. A drugstore, you have many different drugs. So let's say I'm feeling a little bad, so I go to the Walmart again. It's less expensive. So, so I go to the Walmart drugstore. See. And pharmacist doesn't happen to be there, so, let me just go myself. I can figure this things out. Okay. A little bit of morphine would do me. I got a headache, what's wrong with the morphine? A little bit of, what else? A little bit of heart medicine, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that would be pretty stupid, isn't it? So therefore, you need a pharmacist. Otherwise, you're going to get in trouble. You get very sick or die. So the Vedic literatures is something like that. You got to know how to apply them, and therefore you need guru in order to apply them. So, but basically, they have pure knowledge, but the pure knowledge is applicable, or the injunctions on how to apply the pure knowledge is applicable according to time, place, and circumstance of different people. And it may change even for you according to your degree of spiritual realization. So the Vedic literature, just to describe in brief, comes down in disciplic succession, and we have to accept those literatures which have been passed down, because some of the Vedic literatures have not been passed down in disciplic succession, or have not been passed down purely in disciplic succession, have been changed. So we have to examine the historicity and the heritage of that particular Vedic literature, and to receive that Vedic literature from the parampara. Parampara means disciplic succession. So here we see a parampara with Srila Prabhupada, of course. And these literatures are the law books for spirituality. Okay, that's easy to understand. Second one is also easy. Hari, Krishna. The Almighty is the Supreme Lord. Now, you may say, how do you know that? Well, Bhagavad Gita says, Vedashtar Saverahami Vavedyo. What? What does that mean? By all the Vedas, I'm to be known. In the Bhagavatam, I can give you so many verses. Itachag Sakalak Pupsa Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. So many verses are there. That's how we know what we know. And what we know is that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And there's many expansions from Krishna. It gets very complicated understanding what's called the ontology of God. That is the nature of God. Very easy to understand. So here's the different incarnations. These are the Dasha avatars, the 10 main avatars of Krishna. But they all expand from Krishna, and Krishna in Vrindavan is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so here's another one. Krishna is always invested with infinite powers or shaktis. So Krishna's powers or shaktis are divided into different categories. Vishnu Shakti Para Prakta Shitragya Para Avidya Karma Sangyadyan Tritiya Shakti Ishte. Generally, 3 different categories. One category is the spiritual. Shakti means energy, for those who don't know. So there's the spiritual energy, which is the spiritual world, the spiritual devotees, eternally liberated devotees, beginning with, of course, Srimati Radharani, who's the original Shakti or potency of God. And then Vishnu Shakti Para Prakta, that's Para Prakriti. Kshetragyakya Tata Para. Kshetragya means the person who knows the body. That's us. Like we know our body. Practically speaking, we don't know anything else other than our body. You may say, well, I know this room. Do you actually know this room? What you know is what your body tells you about the room through the senses. So basically, you're just knowing the senses. Do you really know what the color, let's say green, there's Tulsi Devi. Do you know what the color green is? No. You know what your eyes, which comes, then it's the optic nerve behind the eyes going into the brain and transmits that somehow or other to your good old soul. That's what you know. You don't have a direct experience of that color green. They come shocking to you. What you know is the body. Right? Does it make sense? What you know is the body. Because if something happens with the eyes, let's say you become blind, you have no experience of reading. It's gone. Something happens with the ears, you have no experience with sound vibration of music. It's gone. So you have Kshetragya. That's what's called the knower of the field. Tata Parat. We're also transcendental, but we can choose what? Matter or spirit. We have that free will of choice. And then that's the second energy, us. And then the third energy is called the vidya karma, this material energy, which means avidya karma means ignorant activities. That's us. All right, that's what we're under the influence of. That's not us. So these are the infinite powers, and all these powers, they do what Krishna wants when he wants them to do it without him asking. That's why he's called Aptakama. He gets what he wants. Imagine having power. Like, remember that movie, The Secret? No. Imagine having the power that if you just want something, it happens. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Okay. I want a bigger temple. Oh, it's bigger. I don't know. That's Krishna's energy. He's God. He doesn't even have to ask him to do anything. He doesn't have to endeavor. He doesn't write down his wish list. Just like we have a nice devotee who brings me some things to offer to my deities every week. I have to send him a list by WhatsApp. Krishna doesn't use WhatsApp. He uses the heart. Anyways, so these are Krishna's powers, infinite powers. Krishna can do anything, anytime, with anyone or with anything that he wants. He's also Swarat. That means independent. Now here's an interesting quality. Krishna is an ocean of ras. Ras means taste. I mean, all of us are doing things because we want to have a taste. Like we eat certain foods, like I'm holding you up from eating. Not yet. Yes, I am. So, not yet. No, I still got more time. From taking prasadam, and you want to have a taste. You'll go through the line and say, "Give me more of that." Not that. Not those potatoes. Sorry about that. And because you like to taste certain things, isn't it? And you also like, in a metaphorical sense, you like to taste things with your eyes. Your nose. You like to taste things. Not really taste the same way, but you understand, experience things. And then you like to experience emotions. Like the ladies, they go to these emotional movies. And you start crying. Are you sad? No, I'm enjoying it. Isn't it? And the men are thinking, oh, yeah. So anyways, and the men have their own emotions. They watch the football games and grunt like. Anyway, like Porky. Anyways, so because you like to taste different things. I mean, why do you do anything? Why do you choose to do anything? And why do you go to a football game? Why do you watch a certain movie? Why do you go skiing during the winter? Why, so many things. Because you have these tastes. So Krishna has all these tastes. He's the person whom all the tastes come from. Aham sarvasya prabhava matak sarvam pravartate. Krishna is the source of everything. So Krishna must have everything that we have, infinite and infinitely more. So Krishna is an ocean rush. He likes to enjoy relationships. He likes to have fun. He likes to tease his parents. He likes to tease his friends. Krishna sometimes is angry and proud. Sometimes Krishna is very tricky. Sometimes Krishna is very humorous. He's a fun sort of guy. So Krishna is an ocean of rus. He's the enjoyer, supreme enjoyer. And so all of us, here's the fifth one, we're part of Krishna. So we have the same tendencies as Krishna. We're eternal. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, right? Nitya Nityanam Chaitanya Chaitanam Eko Bhodanam Yogatadati. Come on. We're part of Krishna. And so we have these same tendencies, but when we're connected with Krishna, we can actually enjoy all these different rasas. And of course, in the spiritual world, there's 5 basic rasas, which are the peaceful rasa, the servitude rasa, the friendship, the parental, and conjugal rasa, but there's mixtures of different ones. There's anger rasa, humor rasa, chivalry rasa, shock rasa. Anyway, so that's the spiritual world, and we are meant to enjoy these rasas as Krishna's spiritual parts and parcel. Now, in the material world, we're trying to enjoy, that's number 6. We're trying to enjoy these rasas in Krishna's, using Krishna's illusory energy. So here you see that person shopping, and in Walmart again, and nothing against Walmart. I do go there. So, and his senses are reaching out to all the shells and his tongue, eyes and his ears, and touch, smell, reaching out. And he's just engrossed in this. And he's not being satisfied because of the principle Chapalasuka, mentioned in the Vedic literature. Chapalasuka means flickering happiness. Like you do something, it gets dry after some time. It's like when you're chewing gum, all the sugar's gone. Ugh. Isn't it? It's all gone. You spit it up and you get another, spit it out. And you get another piece of gum. So it's like that. You try something. Even the thing you like the most to do, you just keep doing it over and over and over again. The song you like the best, you keep listening to it over and over and over and over and over and over again. It gets exhausting. But with the spiritual energy, it's Kevalananda Kana. It's only happiness. So this is number 6. Certain souls, that's the Nitya Bhata souls they described at the beginning, are engrossed in Krishna's illusory potency. But certain souls get released. We're going to talk about the process of getting released in a second. And certain souls are never engrossed. That was the Nitya Siddha, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So hopefully we can be one of the souls that gets released. So we can enjoy happiness. We can enjoy ras without ending. No sorrow. No death, no disease, no old age, no problem. Was that Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law is if something's go wrong, it will, I guarantee. That's been my experience for the last 73 years. It works, Murphy's Law. You can predict it with certainty. So, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, that's the methodology for beginning the practice of getting out of this material world. Sadhana means practice, and Vaidhi means there's certain rules to follow. Now, rules, at least in the Western world, rules sound really bad. Isn't it? It's a bad word. Rules, obligation, duties. What else? Responsibilities. But as they say in the Chinese laundry, no ticky, no shirty. I don't know if we know what that means. In the laundries previously, that if you wanted to pick up your laundry after you dropped it off, you had to have your receipt, your ticket. So if you want to get your shirt back, you can't just say, let me find my shirt here. You got to have your ticket. So there's certain rules, chanting, not hard rules. You know, anyway, 4 regulative principles, no sex, no gambling, no meat eating, no intoxication, chanting Krishna's names, offering your food to Krishna. Yeah, that's about it. Not too difficult, is it? No, it's the simplest thing in the world. That's because in previous ages, it was a lot more difficult. You had to go to the Himalayas, go to a secluded place. Like Arjuna is saying, as Krishna is saying to Arjuna in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, you have to go to a secluded place without anyone there, and to sit down, control your senses, and do all these yoga postures and arjus is impossible. The mind is very obstinate and more difficult to control than the wind. So we have Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, in which we engage, as you see here, all the senses in Krishna service. We don't give up eating. We eat what? Prasada. We don't give up music. We hear music about Krishna. We don't give up smelling things. We smell flowers and things offered to Krishna. So there's all sorts of things to do with the senses. And we don't give up seeing. We don't just close our eyes. We see the deities. We see Krishna. And so higher than that is what's called Raganuga sadhana, where you're doing these things spontaneously. So this is the process of getting out, okay, of becoming a mukta jiva, or liberated jiva, which is number 7. And number 8 is another aspect of the philosophy, we're almost finished, which is that everything spiritual material are Krishna's energies, which is what was stated previously, basically. It's almost reiterating the other one about Krishna has many different energies. Everything, because they're Krishna's energies, it's like the sunshine is, what you see here, the sunshine is the energy of the sun. They're considered, in one sense, the same, in another sense, different. That's called Achincha Veda Beda Tattva philosophy, which was taught by Lord Chaitanya. And that's our Sampradaya philosophy, that everything is connected to Krishna. And in one sense, everything is Krishna. In another sense, it's different. It's not personally Krishna. This chair is not personally Krishna. I can't just worship the chair. I can't just meditate on my belly button. Even though in one sense it's Krishna. That's interesting. In one sense it's Krishna, but in another sense it's different than Krishna because it's Krishna's energy. So that's very interesting. But it's connected to Krishna, controlled by Krishna, because all Krishna's energies, remember what we talked about before? They're all controlled by Krishna. They're first-class servants of Krishna. So that's called very interesting. The 8th one is Chincha Veda Veda Tava. And so the only means to achieve the ultimate goal of life, sadhana, is the pure devotional service. So you may say, I can't do pure devotional service. I'm not pure. Well, you can serve someone who is pure. Like Srila Prabhupada, he gave us the Guru Vastika prayers, where Yasha Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada, Yasha Prasada Dagati Katopi, that if you please someone who is pure, he offers whatever you're offering or doing to Krishna. And that's pure devotional service. You follow the instructions, then you achieve the ultimate or the final goal of life. And Prabhupada has just given us, under the jurisdiction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has given us something very simple, as we mentioned before. And the goal of life, obviously, is what? Pure love of Godhead. That's the final. Sorry. It's a voice, artificial intelligence. See, yeah, chat GPT, So pure love of God is the final objective of life. And that comes just by clarifying or clearing our hearts, as we mentioned before, Cheto Dharvana Marjanam Bhava Mahadbhakti Nirvapana. By chanting the holy names, the heart becomes pure, and automatically you realize your real nature. It's not an artificial imposition, as Prabhupada said, on the mind. And then one can love Krishna and go back to home, back to Godhead. And so, oh, the music there. So this is Sam Sevidas Mulam Vai Hitva Vidyamayam Jana Bhava Pushtim Tatatushtim Labate Sadhu Sang Dataha. A person who carefully studies this Dasamula, just give you the translation, becomes free from ignorance by associating with devotees. He attains spiritual love bliss. So that's the blessing everybody gets. So, does anyone have any questions based upon this small presentation? And if you're interested in more information about Dasamula, it's in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jaiva Dharma. Every evening we're having a course on the Jaiva Dharma, reading and explanation of the Jaiva Dharma. And if you're interested, you could ask Aditya Narayan Prabhu, who'll give you the contact information so you can get the notifications. Yes. Yes, even though it said Nityabada, it's because we've been here so long, it's like forever. What do they say? I've been down so long, it looks like up to me. So, yes, in Nityabada, by the mercy, Dinahina Yatachilo Hadinamu Durilo, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, like Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, can be liberated, yes. Even though it says Nitya, because it's such a long period of time. It's another Nitya, the reason Nitya is also used in this particular context is that nobody can trace out the time when we actually came to the material world. Now, that's interesting too. It's not, that doesn't mean we've always been in the material world. We came to the material world, but you can't trace out the time because outside of the material world, there's no time. Even according to the understanding of the Big Bang theory, science, that before the Big Bang, there was no time, no space, right? Anyone? Any scientists here? No scientists. I am. So, that was my field. Even before the time of the singularity, everything was. Actually, the word singularity could mean many different things. It could also mean when AI becomes just as intelligent as people. But in this particular case, you know about that. Before the time of the singularity, when everything just came into being, there was no time and no space. I mean, we were there in a dormant state, but not within the material world. We were outside. It's described in the Mahavishnu. But so you can't really trace out when you came, because there's no question of it. There's no when you came. But we're here. And Prabhupada also gave the example that if you find yourself in the water drowning, you don't really try to figure out how you got there. Someone throws it. Someone's on the boat and says, "Hey, Maharaj, how did you get in the water?" And I was saying, "Save me." And he said, "No, you tell me first how you got in the water." Or I'm saying, I want to find out how I fell down. I'm not going to take that life preserver right now. So first, we get out. And, really, no one can trace it. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Jaiva Dharma. So, yes, Anicca Siddha, Anicca Vada can actually go back to the spiritual world. So there's great hope for us. It's just a question of taking up this process of sadhana bhakti. So it's quite easy. I mean, I've been doing it for over 50 years now. And it gets better all the time. I can have personal, first-hand experience. It hasn't gotten dry. And it won't get dry. Can anyone here say they've been doing the same thing for 50 years? Like you're going to school. So would you like to go to school for 50 years? Anybody here have a job that they'd like to be doing 50 years from now? 50 years. 7 days a week. No vacations. Anybody have a job like that? 7 days a week, no vacations. But anyway, it's fun. I'm having a lot of fun. And I hope to be doing this forever. Okay. So, all right, any other questions? Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yeah. Mhm. Well, in the beginning, there's a certain spontaneity. There's a new factor too. Yeah, when you're doing something new, you seem to concentrate more on the externals. You know, the external. You know, this is new. You know, chanting, dancing. You know, just like you know, we were in disco before, and now we're doing it for Krishna. Same thing. Before I was doing the twist. Oh, because you don't know what the twist is. Now we're doing the Prabhupada, you know, instead of the twist. So there's the external things, yeah, which is very nice. I mean, Prashanam tastes very nice, and obviously it's transcendental, and dancing and chanting. Uh, but one has to go more internal to long term. And if you don't go internal, then you know the external things are repetitive sometimes. Like we're still chanting the same mantra; it hasn't changed over the last 52 years. It's still Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. Why not a new mantra now? Why not some better mantra like God bless America, 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 God bless America, 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 God bless America, America, America. Why not? No, but you really have to go internal and you know connect with the heart. You know, connect with the heart. Otherwise, you know, if you're simply looking at things externally and not, if you're inattentive, if you're doing things ritualistically, that can actually lead to a certain amount of tiredness, boredom, or whatever. So that's called, in Sanskrit, that's called niyam agra, doing things ritualistically. So yes, one has to get into the internal loving mood because the whole point of these external activities is to go internal. That's the whole point, that you're actually going internal, developing a whole spiritual life internally in relationship with Krishna, which is real. It's not just like a dream. It gets more and more real, and one day Krishna will reach out and shake your hand. But every day you experience newer and newer things, newer and newer connections with Krishna. But it's a question of, yeah, that was a good question. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Well, that is Sripad Madhvacharya's commentary. We just from the Tattvarata Nirnaya, where he states this. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's dualism. That's part of his dualistic presentation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presents something from a slightly different angle of vision, that there's no question of souls that are eternally doomed. Although, you know, there's some souls that have a lot of challenges to them, but there's an opportunity for each and every soul. Just like you see, let's take Putin, for example. I mean, you would say that normally someone like that is probably not going to go back to God for a long time. But because she had some devotion for Krishna, it was mixed. Mostly she wanted to kill Krishna. But it was mixed. She had some maternal affection. Krishna took her. I mean, there's an example of someone who you would say, no chance. Yet what happened? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Dinahina Yatuchilo, Harinam Udurilo, anybody. So yeah. the choice the souls have. The souls all have a choice as to their situation. Because it's not that we are here for no reason whatsoever. It's not that Krishna was just unfair. He made me a Nityabhata. Does that make sense? Krishna says, what? Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvesho stinapriyaha. He says, I am equal to everybody. I have no special souls that are special to me, and no souls that are specially enemies to me. And also, also statements like Yayatamam, Yatam Sadava, I'm reciprocating with everybody. If we posit God as being unequal, that is not a very high quality. God has favorites just because, he just didn't like me. He doesn't like the way I look. He made me the way I look. So, that sort of God is not that attractive. Someone who is. So we're in a particular situation, Nityabhata or Nitya Siddha, or floating around the Mahavishnu, or floating around in the Brahmajyoti, because we chose. We're responsible. It's taking personal responsibility. Okay, I think it's time to end. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. That was a beautiful presentation. And to hear all those 10 truths that Bhakti Vinod Thakur has so wonderfully explained. It's just like, we have like so many philosophies and people have so much confusion about what is right, what is wrong, how to understand God. All those questions can be answered in these 10 eternal truths. And Maharaj explained each one of them so wonderfully. So let's give a big Haribol to Maharaj. Haribol! His Holiness Sri Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Is there anyone here for the first time? We didn't get a chance to welcome earlier. Yes. What's your name? Mahesh. And your family? You can introduce? Yeah. Okay. Your children? Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So let's welcome his family. Haribo. Are you from around this area? Morrisville. Wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So those are here for the first time. We would like to take your email and your phone number so that we can keep you updated about the upcoming festival. So you'll know what all is happening in our temple. So as we mentioned earlier, we have two wonderful, actually on the end of this month, 30th of March, is the wonderful festival of Ram Navami. This is the appearance of Lord Ram. Shri Ramchandra Bhagwan ki. So this year, actually, Ram Navami falls on a Thursday. So we'll have a Thursday evening festival starting at 4:30 p.m. We'll have a class, and then we'll have Abhishek of Ram Parivar. And on that day, on Thursday, we'll have beautiful drama presentation, which is on one particular theme of the Ramayana. Particularly this year, the focus is on Lord Ramchandra's exile. So many of you are familiar with Ramayana. So it's going to be wonderful. Devotees have been practicing for days, months. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful presentation. And then after that drama presentation, we'll have dinner prasadam for everyone. So that is on the actual day, March 30th, Thursday. So 2 weeks from now. So please mark your calendars and please do join us for Sri Ram Navami. And also for this festival, like in every festival, we have this wonderful opportunity for all of you. If you would like to help with any aspect of service for the festival, we need a lot of service like with cooking, serving prasadam, or cleaning. So if you'd like to sign up for any of the services, please do let us know. I'll be downstairs. We can get your contact and then we can let you know what opportunities of services. And also for Ram Navami, we have different opportunities for sponsorship. So if you like to sponsor the Maha Abhishek on that day, it is $108. The Maha Artik is $108. DT Flowers, $251. Is that a new? Okay, wonderful. So Shri Shri Radha Golokananda will be having a new outfit. So you can sponsor the new DT outfit for $251. And the Maha Prasadam feast is for $301. So if you like to sponsor any aspect of this festival, please do let us know. Especially on these most auspicious festival days, you make a donation towards the festival, you get unlimited blessings of Lord Ramchandra. Right? So please do mark the calendar. It's 30th of March. And we also have like a festival WhatsApp group where we send information just about the festivals. So if you'd like to join that group, please let me know. I can add you to a group. So whenever we have big festivals, you will get information on that. Okay. And also to prepare our mind for Ram Navami, next Sunday, which is 26th of March, we'll have a beautiful dance presentation with live orchestra. This is a Bharatanatyam presentation. And this will be portraying the entire life of Lord Ramchandra from his birth, appearance, up to the killing of Ravana. And this is going to be a very, very beautiful presentation. So next Sunday at 5:30 p.m., we'll have this beautiful presentation. It's going to be almost an hour, and you'll have the entire Ramayana that you can actually meditate and absorb your mind in the beautiful Ramayana story. So it's the first time we are actually having live orchestra with our performance. So it's going to be very, very exciting. So please do join us next Sunday, and that way we can prepare our consciousness for Ram Navami. Okay. So since next Sunday is the dance performance will start at 5:30. So those who are parents here, if your children are part of Sunday school, the Sunday school will start half an hour earlier. So 4:30 to 5:30 would be the Sunday school. So please do come half an hour earlier for the Sunday school for your children. And then 5:30 sharp, we'll start the dance presentation. I think those are the announcements for today. So, oh yes, thank you. So after we have, so next we'll proceed downstairs in the hall. We'll have our dinner prasadam served downstairs. After prasadam, we have a request that after you're done, if you could fold your chairs and keep it on the table, because we are going to have our cleaning the floors tomorrow. We are going to have some professionals come and do a full cleanup. So after you're done, just fold your chairs and just stack them on the table. Okay. So thank you so much. So if you need any more information, you want to get in touch with us, please stop. We have a table next to the prasadam where we'll be sharing more information about the festivals. And also you can sponsor any aspect of Ram Navami there. Thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki, Bhagavad Maha Prasad ki. So we'll proceed downstairs for prasadam. So before we have prasadam, we'll be singing the prasadam prayers. Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama Brahmani Vaishnave, Swalpa Punya Vritam Rajan, Vishwaso ne Vajayate, Sharira Vidyaja, Jodendriya Taheka, Jive Phale Vishay Sagare, Tarmate Jivayati, Lobhamaya Sudurmati, Takita Katina Samsare, Krishna Baradaya Moy, Kori Bar Jivajay, Swaprasana Dhilo Bhai, Sena Mritapao, Radha Krishna Gunagao, Premedhako Shri Chaitanya Nitai, Jai Nimai, Jai Nitai, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Bhagavad Mahaprasad ki. Also just wanted to quickly announce, we have this birthday program in our temple where on the birthdays of all of you, we actually offer prayers to Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. So this coming week, we have 19th of March, Nalini Sita. March 20th, we have Shushma Medi Kayala. And on March 23rd, we have Phoenix Jackson. We would like to pray for these devotees. And also, if you'd like to sign up for our birthday program, it's a free program. There's a QR code. You can just scan in, enter the information of all your children, your family members. And on your birthday, we'll be offering prayers to Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. And we'll send you a personal message with blessings of Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. So please do sign up if you have not yet signed up. So let's pray for the devotees who have this birthday this week. Let's just chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Hare Krishna.